The House of Success was a group home for teenage girls aged 13 to 18. Don't ask me how or why they picked that name. As far as I was concerned, it was a joke like everything else. This building was set up like a house. Somehow, somebody thought they would take a whole bunch of anonymous females, put them in a building set up like a house, and have them pretend like they was family. There were 4 girls in each big room. There were about 10 big rooms. There were 2 kitchens and 1 big living room that doubled as a recreation room. There were offices where the people in charge did whatever they were pretending to do. Across from the offices were a set of small rooms that some counselors and personnel slept in when they did overnight shift. This was minimum security, where a girl had to follow certain rules and would somehow be rewarded with little freedoms, as Miss Griswoldy put it. For the next 30 days, you will be evaluated.
If you are not deemed to be violent or suffering from a learning disability or illness, you will be treated like a young adult with adult responsibilities.
So the deal was I had to be on lockup, meaning I wouldn't leave or come and go as I pleased. I had to stay within the facility for 30 days while they decided if I was ready for the world. I wasn't scared. Santiago raised me to be strong. I'll admit, I had all those messed up scenes in my head from the movies, like some squad of butch women dragging me out of my bed, beating me up in the bathroom, and shoving a broomstick up my crotch. But I would fight anybody I had to before I would let them get me down. They'd have to kill me before I let some chick eat or lick me. All of that was dead. The House of Success wasn't like the movies, though. In the room I was assigned to, I met all kinds. First, there was this girl from Haiti. The only thing I could say about her, she was the greasiest person I ever saw. She had a dogged-out, uneven jerry curl with all the grease activated in gel that was coming with it. She had the jerry curl grease colliding with Vaseline on her face. She had greasy lotions on her hands and feet, and in general always looked wet. Her name was Claudette. There was no worse nightmare than the clothes she wore. It looked like she picked a year from the past, let's say 1975, and decided all her clothes would be from that time. To make it worse, she just said, forget a color scheme. I'll wear a purple shirt with green gauchos, with a yellow hat with a big pink flower on it, and I'll top it all off with some wooden platform open-toe shoes so I can show off my big maroon bunion. Needless to say, Claudette mostly stayed to herself. The only time I seen her chilling with the other girls in the house was when they chipped in and bought her a cheap Walkman for her birthday. She was ridiculously happy. They claimed the only reason they bought it was because Claudette played some messed up old Christian radio station with gospel music and a loud, wacky screaming preacher on the AM dial. They couldn't take hearing it no more, so they got her the radio with the headphones. Lachey was a trip. She was kind of chubby with a big cute face. She was one of those girls who decided that she didn't care if she was a size 16. She was still going to wear size 11 clothing. She had big hips, a big butt, and a waist that was small compared to the rest of her butt. You couldn't tell her she was fat, though. The way she figured it, if the hips were 48 inches and the waist 36 and the titties 40, that's a perfect hourglass shape. She wore halter tops when it obviously should have been a crime. She wore Daisy Duke shorts and shoes with laid-to-the-side heels that were begging for forgiveness with every step she took. Her thing was the boys, who, if you let her tell it, all were in love with her. She had dang near every issue of Word Up magazine, with all her favorite pictures of rap stars glued to the wall in a raggedy collage. She was the show-off type. It was more like she was a comedian to me. 'Cause how you gonna show off in busted shoes and clothes you bought from some Indian at a candy store in the train station? Rashida was into her own little world. She was pretty, but it didn't count. She never made it work for her. She wore her hair back in a ponytail all the time, every day. She had no flavor about cuts, wraps, twists, nothing, no style. She had a cute little figure, but kept it covered up like it was on punishment or something. She had the nerve to, in this day and time, wear dingy no-name kicks on her feet. You know, the ones they sell at the supermarket for $4. She didn't decorate her side of the room at all. If you looked over there, it was plain, period. She was extra clean and tidy. All she did was read. She didn't even watch television unless it was the gloomy news. Noni was the girl whose bed I got. She was transferred to another room. The girl said Noni smoked cigarettes like a smokestack, even though there was no smoking allowed. She had taken a roll of string, made a line and a curtain around her bed out of a sheet. It didn't matter, they said, 'cause the smoke kept stinking up the room anyway. They said she had a nervous problem, was molested by her stepdad, and beaten by her mother. Smoking made her feel good, and she would beat up anybody who tried to take her cigarettes or report her. They said the counselors who did the overnight just let her keep smoking, 'cause it was easier to be Noni's friend than her enemy. As a consequence, other girls just followed her lead and lit up too. When one girl in the other room turned 18, she was released and had to go and make it on her own. When her bed got free, they put Noni in there, 'cause there were 3 more smokers in that room. I got her bed and ended up with Claudette, Lachey, and Rashida. My first week was crazy. They took me into an office for an interview with my newly assigned social worker. Her name was Kathy Johnson. On her feet were pleather knockoffs, the kind that when you flip them over, had a stamp on the bottom that said, men-made uppers. Her pantsuit was JCPenney's or Sears, definitely polyester or rayon. As soon as I got in the room, I peeped her. Her perm needed a serious touch-up. I could see that she tried to lay down the naps with some gel that was turning white and flaking. She did her own nails, but believe me, she was the type who was too lazy to take off the old layer of nail polish, so she just piled the new layer on top so it didn't lay smooth on her nails.
"Come in, Winter. Have a seat,"
she said like I needed her help. She pushed the manila file open and flipped through some papers. I checked her left hand. No engagement ring, no wedding ring, nothing. On the wall, she had some kind of degree from Fordham University.
"Winter, where did you go to school?"
She asked. I used to go to Half Hollow High, Long Island. I sucked my teeth and said,
"Then what happened?"
what's the sense in having all those papers in the folder about me if you gonna ask me what you already know?
"Okay, Winter. Did you drop out? Did you re-register at another school after Long Island? And how do you plan to finish your education? These are the type of things I need to find out from you."
I gave her answers, short ones. No sense in getting all involved when she was a walking, talking example of what an education amounted to. What was I supposed to do? Struggle to be like her? Pay some big school big money so I could get a little job in some little place making an itty-bitty bit of cash? What do I get? To hang a stupid degree up in my little office where I don't make enough dough to get a regular manicure, pedicure, or perm. I should be interviewing her, asking her what's her problem. She asked me about my sisters, who, for the most part, I had put out of my mind. She asked me about my mother and father and every nosy thing she could nose around in, at which time I gave her any answer that popped into my head. She asked me if I could read and write. I told her, of course, and I can talk too. After 2 hours, I was leaving her office. I asked, how do I get money in here? She explained it. I got $60 a week. The institution got $800 per month per child. The $60 a week represented my spending money after the institution paid its expenses. What expenses? I asked.
We take care of everything else you need, Winter. We purchase the food, clothes, shelter, etc.
You mean to tell me you bought those clothes all them girls is wearing?
No, not exactly. There's a voucher system. Your social worker, that's me, will accompany you every 2 to 3 months to get what you need.
You are gonna help me shop, I repeated and laughed.
You know, if you don't follow the rules in here, you forfeit all your privileges. That includes nights out, weekend passes, and your weekly stipend.
Stipend? I asked.
Your money. You know, Winter, you're one of the older girls in here. Most of the 16 and 17-year-old girls get after-school jobs. You're not going to be here long. I suggest you focus on making specific plans for your future. I'm here to help you in any way I can.
After a boxed lunch, I saw the institutional psychiatrist. She was a nut. She asked me all kinds of questions about my mother and father. Did my father touch me? Did I ever want to have sex with him? Did my mother ever beat me? No matter how many times I told her no, she would put the question another way, but still be asking me the same stuff. She asked me dumb things like, how did I feel when they took my sisters away? She might as well have been asking me, is the burning building hot? She asked me about the relationship I had with my friends and men. I looked at her like, lady, do you really think me and your old self was gonna sit down here and have a girl talk? To entertain her, I started making things up. I break out in a rash when I'm in a room with more than 2 people. I'm a virgin and would like to be one until I'm 30. I masturbate to the sound of the washing machine. I was cracking myself up. She was sitting there with a long yellow pad actually trying to come up with the explanation for all the gobbledygook I was giving her. More tests, reading and math. If they found out anything, it's that I can read, write, and count. As Santiago would say, everything else is just extra unnecessary. I met with the birth control lady who really wanted to get personal. I wouldn't tell her nothing, but I did take some of those free condoms even though there was no men in the house. I figured, when they loosen up on me, I can have them just in case. At night, most of the girls were gone. They got evening passes, which allowed you to leave until 11 p.m. Some had jobs to go to, others had free time. If you came in after 11 p.m., you missed curfew, you were forfeited your passes for the rest of the week. If you were late 3 times in 30 days, you permanently lost your evening opportunities. I was stuck inside with the girls on punishment, the newcomers who had just been evaluated like me, and the uniformed ladies who guarded the door, registering girls in and out. Laying in my bed, I put together a list of things I needed. Top of the list was a lock. I needed to lock up my suitcase before somebody pulled one of Aunt Bee's capers and tried to lift some of my clothes. I had already decided if anybody put their hands on my stuff, we go head up. After I got my list together, I sat and thought. The challenge for me now would be to make something out of nothing. How to make money when I had no money to start with. Then I was hit by a brilliant idea. I jumped up from my cot and walked into the bedroom across the hall. Noni, let me borrow $1. I need to make a couple of calls.
When am I going to get it back?
Friday.
All right. I'll lend you $1 one time. If Friday comes and I don't see you or my dollar, your credit is dead. And don't ask me for nothing else.
Cool, I responded. Got 4 quarters and waited on his chick, Ginger, to get off the payphone. Simone, girl, what's up? I got a deal for you. You got any money?
Yeah, I got a little something. Heard you in some trouble.
Nah, I ain't in no trouble. At least nothing I can't handle. Listen, I got a lot of stuff I want you to pick up for me. It will run you $200.
It ain't gonna cost me nothing.
All the better, I said. I read the list, told her to pack everything in a box. I'll call you back Friday morning. You'll meet my girl. Give the box to her. I'll pay you for the stuff on Sunday night. I figured there were 40 girls in here. Every one of us got $60 a week. Some had jobs. That meant altogether the girls in the house's success took in a minimum of $2,400 per week. There was no way I was going to be standing around in some polyester McDonald's suit saying, "May I help you? Would you like a Coke with your fries?" I would provide everybody with what they needed. I would even help them to understand what they needed. I was locked in for 3 more weeks. That was 3 Fridays, which meant, at best, there was a minimum intake of 7,200. All I need is 5,000. When I got my eating privileges, I'd invest my money in the streets, triple it at least, and get my own place. I might as well have Simone for a partner, for she understood business and wasn't a gossip like Natalie. She was going to have a baby soon and would need my help as well. We'd get paid together. I spent every day up until Friday getting to know the girls in the house. It wasn't hard. Every day I would get up and do my hair in a different fly style and rock some clothes like I was going to some special event. Only thing was, I really wasn't going anywhere and everybody knew it. The girls watched me and asked me how I did my hair in a particular style, how I manicure my own nails, pedicure my own toes, and where I got my clothes and shoes from. I gave them answers. After a while, they started asking me questions about me. Who I am, my background. Eventually, they started telling me about their lives. They liked my stories better, though, 'cause theirs was mostly hard luck stories. I told them about the big birthday party Santiago gave me on my 5th birthday. It was in the ballroom at the local hotel. Santiago filled the room up with 500 balloons, 100 for every year I was alive. All the kids from the block came. I got my first party dress, the kind you wouldn't be caught dead in when you were 13, but were delighted to have when you were 5. I had Gucci patent leather loafers with white lace stockings. We took family photos together, and Santiago gave me a charm bracelet with a 24-karat gold elephant. Every year until I was 12, he gave me a new gold animal. When I turned 13, I turned the charm bracelet into a necklace. I didn't wear it because by that time I had even better stuff, but I treasured it. Of course, they asked what all my stuff was, and I lied and told them it was in storage. I found out which girls had jobs and which didn't, who had extra money, and what kind of taste they had. All the while I was talking, my mom was organizing the kind of stuff I could sell, what type of services I could perform, what type of prices I could charge, and how much I could expect to accumulate over the first couple of weeks. Friday, when Lachey was leaving on a weekend pass, I told her to meet Simone in the local pizza shop to pick up the box she was delivering to me. First thing I did was pull out my lock and chain from my suitcase that I had been guarding with my life since my arrival. I put all the new stuff inside and locked and chained it up. I organized all the magazines I had asked her for on my desk, and I officially opened up shop. My first customer, the person I volunteered to be my first customer, was Claudette. I figured if I could fix her up, make her pay for it, she'd be a good example of what my work was worth. I also found out that Claudette never spent her money. She was 17 years old, worked on weekends, and sent $150 a month to some wacky preacher she listened to. She stashed the rest. Claudette, you got a boyfriend?
No.
She said shyly. Oh, I guess you can't have a boyfriend because you're a Christian.
No, I can have a boyfriend. There are just some things we can do and some things we can't.
So what happens? I asked her. You meet a nice guy, and he finds out you aren't gonna give him none, so he breaks out.
No, we didn't ever get that far. I like a guy. He doesn't like me, that's it.
I'll know what you need.
What do I need, Winter? I'm sure you know. You seem to know so much.
If I show you what you need and give you what you need, it's gonna cost you.
Oh no, I don't want to spend any money.
But after I hook you up, you will meet any man you want. Your whole life will change. You give money to that preacher, right?
Yeah, this is different.
But he doesn't do anything for you.
You don't know that. He makes me feel good, better every day.
But I can make you feel better than he can, and once I show you, you can do it yourself. All right, let's make a deal. I'll fix you up. If you like what you see, you pay me. If you don't have to owe me anything. I handed her a stack of magazines, told her to flip through and tell me who she wanted to look like. I talked Claudette's ear off, got her all hyped on change. When I had her settling in the chair, ready for her new cut, I could have cried with laughter. The only thing I knew about cutting hair was what a good haircut was supposed to look like when it was done, and whatever I had peeped from Earlene's. What made me calm, though, was there was no way for me to mess up Claudette's hair any more than it already was. So I started cutting until she was dang near bald. The way I figured it is she needed to start all over again. I gave her finger waves. If I say so myself, it looked fly. I gave her a facial, unclogged all the Vaseline and that cheap $1 drugstore makeup she wore. I busted out a nail kit, gave her tips, a French manicure and pedicure. I made her take off that red skirt with 2 socks and sandals and told her that because I liked her, I would let her take a quick look into my suitcase. I unlocked and unchained it carefully to make her fully understand that she was about to enjoy a special privilege. From now on, I told her, she could order her clothes from me. Let's just take it slow. She selected one of my designer dresses. When she glanced in the mirror, saw the French manicure, finger waves, natural face with quality MAC lipstick, and Donna Karan dress, she smiled to herself, turned to the right, the left, front, back. From what I could tell, she was stuck in a state of shock. Now I'll try these on, I said. I took my shoes out of the shoebox I kept them packed in. They were one size too small for her, but she got the concept. Now Claudette, I said, holding her face between my hands, making her look me dead in the eye. I have to take my dress and shoes back. But look at yourself and know that you can look like this if you let me help you. Your life will change.
How much?
For the face, hair, nails, and feet?
Yeah, and the dress.
Oh, you can't afford that dress. It's mine. But I can show you something just as nice. I'll show you my catalog later tonight. You pick and pay, and we'll be in business.
How do you know I can't afford the dress?
Even if you could, which I doubt, you can't have it. It's a designer exclusive. I lied just to gas her up. They only make a few of these, but you think it's something on most is nice. Let me work on finding the right thing for you. I charged her $60. She paid me. I watched as she got an extra switch in her walk. For another $60, I convinced her to buy a pair of my jeans and a blouse. I talked to her about toning down her colors. All in all, I made a permanent customer. That was week 2 in the House of Success, and I already had $120 plus my $60 stipend. Once Claudette spread the word, not through talking, because she was kind of shy, but just by being different from the fresh-off-the-boat girl she used to be, I was going to rake in the dough. Things took off quickly. I had what everybody needed at better prices than they could get for themselves. Everybody was happy. I organized all the fashions from the magazines into the catalog, put numbers on the items and all that. I let the people in the house order their clothes from me. I let Simone boost them and sell them to me for a small price. I resold them to the girls at less than half of what the store would charge. Lachey was my unsuspected runner. which put money in her pocket. She got to meet Simone, take the stuff up from me, deliver it to me, and drop off whatever I wanted. I had cut-rate cartons of cigarettes for Noni, wholesale candy for Lachey, clothes, hairdos, fingernails, pedicures, and fashion tips for whoever needed it. I had beer and joints at the right time, on the down low. Depending on what was going on with Simone, I had things as big as cellular phones and CD players available. At the end of 21 days, I had $2,500 in my pocket, and I had never left my room. Kathy Johnson, my social worker, recommended I finish school. I disagreed and told her to make arrangements to let me drop out. To keep things cool, I agreed to take the GED exam so I could get that BS equivalency. I even agreed to look for a job, which I really wasn't going to do. The other girls in the house took me on to the scam. All I had to do was fill out a form weekly saying I look for a job and where I look for a job. I could get real company names and addresses from the want ads, complete the form, turn it in, and qualify for have a look for work. Work that, as far as I was concerned, I would never find because I already had a more profitable hustle going. Miss Johnson threatened to sign me up for all kinds of technical and business schools. Like I would want to be some kind of refrigerator repairman or something like that. The psychiatrist recommended me to attend weekly psychiatric sessions, label me some kind of sociopath or something like that, because I told her all those kooky stories that she was educated enough, or should I say dumb enough, to believe. She recommended that once I got my privileges, I should visit my sisters, and that the whole family go to counseling. I had a better plan. I believe you see people when you have something to say or something to offer, and I was still working on it. What was the sense of me seeing my sisters if I couldn't do nothing for them? They start talking about they want to come with me. What would I do then? Move them from one shelter to another? People always seem to have stupid suggestions. On my first day free, I hooked up with Simone. We talked regularly on the phone, but only about business, because time was limited. There was only one phone on the floor, and everyone wanted to use it. No sense in hogging a phone and pissing off my customers. Simone seemed real happy to actually see me. We met at a pizza shop. She updated me on Brooklyn, said Natalie and Will were still together. Natalie hated me, and she told all my personal business to everyone. My mom's had sunk to an all-time low, had been seen wearing a full-body catsuit. You know, the tight $2 leggings with the bodysuit attached with no panties underneath. Her head was still bald, face still twisted, and body still on crack. Of course, Simone didn't word it like that, but let's cut through the BS. I'm smart. Word on the street was Santiago ain't never getting out. Aunt B was screwing for money. My whole family had individual hustles going on. On the side, Simone added that she had fixed up the room in her apartment for the baby. She had a new crib, blankets, toys, the works. Everything was pink. I told her it was done, 'cause what if the baby was a boy? She had a sonogram, she said, and was sure it was a girl. So everything was in perfect order. She said she was 7 months pregnant now and getting tired all the time. She wanted me to know that she had put money aside for the baby and she would need to slow down for the 8th and 9th month. Now, I was no dummy, so I caught the signal. My plans had to kick in as soon as possible. If she was going to slow down, that would affect the chain of cash flow. Let's face it, she was a booster, I wasn't. She had the know-how and the connect, I didn't. To tell the truth, I wasn't even interested in being a booster. As long as I could make what Simone was already deep into work for me. Simone, I want to make an investment.
What kind of investment?
Crack. Once them baseheads get going, they're complete and loyal customers. I need to at least triple my money so I can make moves.
That ain't my area, Winter. You know that. You know I have a weed connect, but it's out in Brooklyn, back around the way.
No, forget that. I need a closer connect up here.
I got a guy I can talk to, a cousin uptown. He's real tight with his stuff, though. He may not even have a conversation with me. He be acting like he don't be doing what he be doing, where everybody know what he be doing. Winter, I don't know about getting into that. When you get caught, you do hard time. Look what happened to your father.
Right, I thought. That's who I should be talking to, my father. And no matter what Simone said, my father got at least 20 years of good high living out of that business. Nobody could argue with that. That's power. To be able to set up your whole empire in your neighborhood, or even somebody else's neighborhood for that matter. To buy cars, jeeps, trucks. To sport the flyest stuff made by the top designers. To be able to buy property, mansions, and still have an apartment on the side. To be able to flex on people before they get a chance to flex on you. That's power. Who could argue with that? A regular dude worked all week for change, to get to work plus a beer to forget about how hard he worked. My pops was a major player for a long time. With the benefit of his knowledge, I could make the whole world bow down. But better than he did, 'cause he would teach me about the mistakes. Let's compare it. 10 years of good living and 20 years of high living versus 60 years of scraping to get by. Enough said. I told Simone, listen, work on that connect for me. Try and set up a meeting. Here's a list of what I need for the house. Let's meet here Friday night at 9. I'll pick it up.
What about Lachey?
Who? I responded, my mind drifting to Santiago. Oh, I don't need her anymore. I can get my evening passes now. I can be out till 11 p.m.
So what's she gonna do?
Whatever she was doing before I got here. I gave Simone a hug and broke out. On the bus to the jail, I organized a clever way to key Santiago into what I was saying without exposing my hands to the guards or phone surveillance. As Santiago had taught me, hold your cards close to your chest. Also, I wouldn't bring up the Dolce situation, because that might cause him or even me to get mad, and then I might end up leaving the jail without the information I needed. I would say yes, I saw Portia, Mercedes, and Lexi. How they were doing? Fine. Getting big, growing up, and going to school. What could I say about Mama? Well, it was unusual, but I didn't have an answer up until the time I arrived at Rikers. Went through the checks and searches and the whole process. I still had no answer. Up until the time for me to sign the guest book, I sat nervously, biting my lip about Mama, a woman who, despite everything, I knowed Gaddy loved so much. The guard said have a seat. I preferred to stand. Somehow I thought I could think better standing up, so I went to the corner of the room and paced back and forth. When the guard returned, he said,
Sorry, Miss Santiago. Ricky Santiago is not going to see anyone today.
What? Did you tell him it was his daughter went to Santiago?
Yes, I did. I gave him the same name you gave me.
What do you mean he doesn't want to see me? What did he say? What did he say?
He didn't say nothing. I told him you were here. He shook his head no. He don't have to come out. A prisoner has the right to refuse a visit.
Tears welled up and splashed out my eyes. The guard said,
Listen, if you write your name and address on this piece of paper, I can give it to him. Maybe he'll write.
As I jotted down my name, address, and phone number, I put on the bottom of the ripped piece of paper, Daddy, please call me right away. I need you badly. Winter. At the House of Success, Everyone asked me what was wrong. I looked at their faces and thought to myself, "You're not my family. Don't try to act like you are." I shut them out and didn't respond. I went to bed, took off my shoes, and balled up under the cover in my clothes and slept. I slept through the rest of the afternoon, evening, and the night. I slept through the next morning, the next afternoon, and the next evening. Girls came and went. "Can I buy a stogie? Do you have any more perm cream? When can I get my hair done? Where did you put the catalog?" My response was nothing. On the third bedridden morning, Ms. Johnson, the social worker, came in.
If there's a problem, Winter, we can talk about it. We can work it out. Pent-up aggression won't solve anything.
I just stared at her face, then rolled over and balled up again. By noontime, the psychiatrist came in and insisted that I needed a session. She said I had better eat some food or at least drink some water. I said nothing. By 1 o'clock, security came, poked me with a nightstick and said I had to get dressed and go to the psychiatric office immediately. The rock-faced lady man with big arms made it clear that if I didn't move, she would move me. I got up and went through the motions of preparing to go. Rashida was seated on her bed. She watched me with tears in her eyes. As the guards waited outside the door, Rashida came to me and said,
All right, Winter, you don't have to say anything. I can understand it. But whatever happened to you, I've been there before. It's a real bad place to be in, but I've been there. It almost makes me wonder if being dead isn't better. But let me just say this. Once I took a bottle of pills because I wanted to die. I figured I died, no more pain, right? Wrong. I ended up on an operating table with doctors pumping my stomach. A lot of pain. When I got better, it was still pain. So I tried it again. I slashed my wrist. I figured, surefire way to die, right? And then I didn't die. I still had a cast, painkillers, and pain. Soon as the pills wore off, there was more pain. Even when I got better, there was pain. Pain's a part of life. That's my point. Pain is part of life. When it's your time to go, you go. If it's not your time, you don't go. I woke up in a hospital room with tubes everywhere, stitches on my wrists. Then the amnesia wore off. There was pain for weeks. If you find God, the good in yourself, you can take most of the pain away. And then the few times you do get pain, you just surrender and the pain will go away.
I couldn't connect to what she was saying. The security yelled in and said,
Come on, Santiago, the doctor's waiting.
Rashida said,
Listen, tonight I'm going to see Sister Souljah speak. She's a real beautiful sister who has helped me to understand myself a little more and get it together. If you want to come, I'll take you, my treat.
"You a treat? It costs money? What you giving her money for?" My face was vexed and Rashida was intimidated by my sudden change and instant anger. "I could see if we were going to a show," I went on. "Then at least you can get what you pay for. You going to listen to somebody talk? Soldier gets paid, you get nothing, stupid." Rashida looked shocked at the dramatic change in my personality.
I guess I am stupid for trying to help you.
As she left the room, probably just to get away from me, I shouted, "Do me a favor.
Oh, now you need a favor.
Ask Sister Souljah if she knows somebody named Midnight." My session with the psychiatrist revived me, not because of anything she did, because of what I did and said. The story I told her made me laugh inside, and that helped to take away some of the depression. I told her I had a best friend named Natalie. And ever since childhood, we had been connected. We were so connected that when she cried, I cried. That when she was sick, I was sick. When she was happy, I was happy. Even when we were separated, I could still feel Natalie's emotions, and she could feel mine. Natalie had made one of our other friends angry by telling some of her personal business, so the girl beat Natalie unconscious. The reason I was stuck in bed for 3 days was because I was unconscious like Natalie. After the story, she asked 1,000 questions, all of which I answered. I can't repeat my answers because I made them up as I went along and forgot them just the same. That day, I decided I would think of everyone in my family as dead. This made everything easy. It would just be me against the world. Simone would be important to me because she was my business connect. I had learned that there was no point of getting personal. It was just a waste of time. As Santiago said, everyone knows, time is money. Simone was on point as usual. She delivered my things. I gave it a loot.
It's not gonna happen. Forget it, Winter. He didn't want to get mixed up with no trouble. He got vexed just from you mentioning his business. I told him I could trust you, that you were in for self, but he said that was hard to believe.
Dang, I said, frustrated.
Any other options?
I got a couple ideas in my head. Let me work on them. All right, Simone. So what else is up?
I'm debating on whether to go to the show tomorrow night or not.
I laughed at her. Your belly kinda out there, I said, looking at her belly.
No, crazy. That's not it. I figure if I'm gonna go to a show, I ought to be able to stay awake. This sweetness stuff is getting out of control.
Who's performing?
Wu-Tang.
Let's do it.
What you gonna wear?
Saks Fifth Avenue got this dusty pink suede dress with a matcha jacket. Bangin'. Pick it up for me. I already got the shoes. I was trying to wait for you to get them, but there was only one pair left in my size, and I didn't want anybody else to buy them. If you can cop the dress and the jacket, I'll give you $350 for it. That's a little more than half of the price.
You got it, Winter. Let's meet at your spot at 9. How we rolling?
Limo like usual, I said with a half smile.
All right, big timer.
When I got back to the house, I apologized to everyone for bugging out for the past few days. I told them my mother was hospitalized and very sick. It got me depressed because the doctor said she may not pull through. I saw her today and thank God she was going to be all right. They all accepted my apology. I gave them discounts on stuff they needed for the weekend. After the discount, we were all cool again. None of the girls would hold a grudge because they had their good days and bad days too. One by one, girls were leaving on weekend passes. I hung around because Friday night was a money night for me. If I had a good take, I would have a total of $2,800 saved. Rashida came in and threw shade on me. For business purposes, I immediately apologized. However, in business, I know that if a bad feeling spreads about the saleswoman or the product, it can infect others. So I was being scientific about it. Rashida accepted my apology, but not in a way that made me believe that things were cool between us. She was cautious. Truth of the matter was, Rashida was one of maybe 2 girls in the house of success who never bought anything from me. She didn't borrow money, didn't ask for nothing. I rallied her back to a good position, found out something she liked, and provided to her. On Saturday morning, I went out to the stores. There was really no need for me to buy anything, because Simone could get what I wanted. But nothing could replace the whole idea of the store, along with the thrill of being there. I kept my finger on the fashion nerve by always being in and out of the top stores. This made Simone's job easy because I could tell her what I wanted, which store had it, and down to the section, sometimes to the exact rack. And exclusive stuff they never could have known existed meant they would have to keep coming back to me. I like to keep up with cosmetics, although I didn't need anything besides a little lipstick. My skin was smooth. My lashes were already dark and long. Some of the girls I sold stuff to had uneven, blotchy, and sometimes straight-up scarred skin, and razor blades that they wanted to hide. My being up on skin remedies, new cosmetic colors, I had packaged my advice, products, and styles like a secret potion that they could only purchase from me. While I was out, I saw a cute pink suede hat that I wanted. It will go so well with the dress, jacket, and shoes. I was gonna get Simone to pick it up for me, although I was tempted to buy it myself just in case. Sometimes Simone was a little slow to answer her beeps. You couldn't blame her because she was usually in the middle of picking something up. Later, I wandered into a pawn shop just to price what I could get for my diamond tennis bracelet, necklace, and earrings in an emergency situation. I found out that the shop owners were not only thieves, but perverts who made it clear that they weren't above having sex with me in the back room of a shop. $400 was what they offered me for a bracelet that cost my father a few thousand. The only thing was, if I got desperate enough and needed cash, I would pick up the $400 and buy the jewels back later. I saw a fat nail design in the Chinese lady shop, so I went in and got my nails redone. She was overcharging. When I asked her the price, she could tell from the look in my eyes that she was about $50 over the normal nail design fee. But she was smart. I never seen the same nail designs she was pushing anywhere. So I told myself, hey, she's a businesswoman, I'm a businesswoman. People gotta respect that. Got a fly design and easily calculated a way to pass this personal expense on to my loyal customers at the house